These 5 victims disappeared in public or popular places, never to be seen again. Hearing about these cases may confirm, in your opinion, that nowhere in the world is truly safe and people mysteriously vanish in even the most busy and well-known locations. Number 5. In the summer of 1997, a young college student from North Carolina State University mysteriously vanished after leaving her job. 18-year-old Kristen Motaferi was spending her summer break from college in San Francisco, California, where she had obtained a position working in the Spinellis at Crocker Galleria Mall. Kristen was enjoying her time away from home and planned to continue her college courses by taking some summer photography classes at UC Berkeley. Sadly, she would never attend those classes, which were scheduled to begin the day after she vanished. On June 23, 1997, Kristen informed her coworkers that she was considering attending a beach party just a few miles from where she lived. She seemed excited about her evening, according to witnesses that spoke to her. In high spirits, she left Spinelli's after completing her shift around 3 p.m. Her roommates expected her to return home that night after the party, but she didn't. At first, they apparently disregarded her absence, assuming maybe she'd had too much to drink and went to a friend's house, or found a hookup for the night. Professors noted that the following day, which was the first day of her photography course, she failed to attend or inform them of her absence. A few days passed and there was still no sign of Kristen. She missed the rest of her classes, which was odd because she had already paid her tuition in full, which was about $900. It seemed odd to the college and to Kristen's personal connections that she would throw away that amount of money. Money was another red flag when she never returned to work and left a $400 check behind. As you can imagine, most college students would never throw away such hard-earned money. While all of this was playing out, Kristen's parents had been desperately trying to get a hold of her, as it was out of her usual behavior to ignore them for such a long period. Her father left a voicemail with one of Kristen's roommates, and when they returned the call, they informed him that his daughter had not been seen or heard from in many days. As a result, Kristen's parents rushed to San Francisco to find their daughter. Their first order of business was to report her missing to police. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Kristen likely vanished after leaving her job, despite the public eye surrounding her in the busy city. Her coworkers later shared with investigators that she was last seen talking to an unidentified blonde woman while still in the parking garage. Sadly, that woman has still never been identified to this day, and Kristen remains missing. Number 4. Asha Kramer was a 26-year-old Australian woman who went missing after excusing herself from the breakfast table while out with her boyfriend and a friend. Asha was living in California with her boyfriend at the time, and as far as anyone could tell, she had a very happy and mostly normal life. She did suffer from mental health issues and previously sought help for her sickness, but her progress took a dive in September of 2015. Asha entered a state of crisis after she was unable to fall asleep for about 5 days in a row. In addition to her already complex mental obstacles, the lack of sleep made her nearly incoherent. Her boyfriend reported that when she spoke, it was as though she was sharing a riddle. He also mentioned that she would spend concerning amounts of time just screaming and yelling, likely in the midst of severe panic attacks. Finally, around September 20th, she was taken to a mental health facility for evaluation. At the time, Mendocino County had privatized mental health services to patients in need. However, California Code 5150 established that the contractor was required to evaluate Asha. They were essentially attempting to determine if she was a threat to herself or others, and if so, what services would need to be provided to her to get her into a safe mental state. Unfortunately, Asha was so upset, terrified, and paranoid that she was afraid of staff while they were simply trying to take her vitals. The scene got so out of hand that the police department was called. Every detail of what went down following their arrival has not been made public, but in the end, it was reported that Asha was released without treatment. She was sent into the care of her lover and her longtime friend, visiting her from their hometown. After her release, the group decided to make a stop at a small diner along the way. Breakfast was going well, and it seemed to others that Asha finally felt a sense of relief from the several days of hell she'd been going through. Unfortunately, the behavior that followed discredits that assumption. While eating, Asha's friend excused himself from the table to visit the bathroom. Unbeknownst to her friend, Asha decided to join her. A few minutes passed and Asha's friend returned to the table. When she noticed Asha was gone, she asked her boyfriend where she went. He casually informed her that Asha had followed her. According to the friend, however, she never saw Asha in the bathroom or in the hallway between the dining areas. As time passed, they began to wonder if Asha was okay in the bathroom. Her friend checked it out and confirmed that she was nowhere to be found. The staff helped them search around the diner, which was already a fairly small location. No signs of Asha were found, and the authorities were called. An investigation and search party followed her disappearance, and the media covered many updates over the course of a few months, but Asha was never found. In the years that have followed, there have been occasional reports of citizens spotting Asha all across the US. These reports have not been confirmed. It's odd that Asha would be able to vanish in the diner without being seen by staff or even on security footage. Number 3. It's not uncommon for people to abandon their cars and mysteriously vanish. Some people decide to flee and leave their cars in deserted areas and parking lots, and the same goes for kidnappers after they've taken their victims. Leaving a vehicle along the side of a busy highway is surprisingly more rare, though. In the few cases that this actually happened, there was at least a bundle of witnesses that saw the driver walking away from the scene, or spot the kidnappers as they're stopped near the victim's vehicle. In the case of Gavin Octavio, his disappearance is considered strange because the car he used was found along the Golden Gate Bridge, a location that is busy with traffic nearly 24/7. Gavin was described as a friendly, hardworking, and stable-headed young man who loved his family and succeeded in whatever he touched. For his friends and family, his disappearance was tragic, especially considering he was only 22 at the time. On November 21st, 2018, Gavin drove to San Francisco in preparation to spend the Thanksgiving holiday with his big and beloved family. Another day he was looking forward to was his birthday, on which he planned to have fun with loved ones and friends alike. His family never got to spend that special day with him, though. Gavin arrived safely and spent Thanksgiving feasting with his family. The next day, November 23rd, Gavin participated in putting up Christmas decorations. When the evening rolled around, he borrowed his sister's car to go out of town with friends. He told his mother that he wouldn't be out for too long and would likely return right after dinner. It grew later and later into the night without Gavin. He failed to return home the following morning as well, and it didn't take long for his family to assume that something was seriously wrong. They got the authorities involved and a search party sparked to find the young victim. His sister's car was found, but it was unclear if it had been abandoned by Gavin or if he was snatched away from it against his will. At first, there were no leads. Despite covering the story on many local news stations, no witnesses came forward. Again, this was considered very odd because the Golden Gate Bridge is such a popular location that someone should have seen something, even the smallest detail. After a few weeks, alleged witnesses did come forward to share that they had seen Gavin on the bridge, but that was the last time he was spotted, and many of those reports were discredited during the investigation for failure to confirm them. Even now, in late 2020, Gavin has not returned. Additionally, there have been no further clues or reports to keep the case alive. Number 2. Carla Valdez was 35 years old when she visited Machu Picchu and mysteriously vanished. The legally blind woman was on a trip to Peru in December of 2018 to attend a wedding. During what should have been a fun getaway, things quickly became a stressful tragedy that left investigators and the general public weary and suspicious. At first, Carla tried to join a tour group to explore the popular tourist attraction Machu Picchu, but was rejected due to her vision. The team members didn't want to be responsible for the woman's well-being. However, Carla was determined and searched around until she found a group willing to bring her along. The tour went well and did no damage to the fun spirit of Carla's vacation. She got along well with group members, and they ended up spending a significant amount of time together exploring new places and traveling through the city. After a day of adventures, the group decided to hit up a local nightclub, where they had a blast together. The night was long and full of laughs, as some members reported. They partied on until about 4 in the morning when they realized it was time for some rest. The group happened to all be staying at the Parawana hostel, including Carla. A short time after settling in for the night, Carla shared with her friends that she wanted to hit up the city again the following morning, despite the tiring day that she had just wrapped up. Around 9:30 a.m. on December 12th, Carla was escorted into a taxi by a hotel security guard and a helpful receptionist. Carla was sent on her merry way, but she never returned. In the later investigation, it was reported that a group member woke up around the same time Carla was leaving and noticed that she had taken all of her belongings with her. This was obviously suspicious considering she had more time on her trip and previously planned to stay in the same hostel until the end of her visit. A search party was eventually gathered after Carla's family received the news that she had not been seen for a concerning amount of time. The taxi driver that Carla left with was located and interrogated. He reported that he dropped Carla off at a nearby bus terminal, which is considered a busy public spot in the city, where countless citizens packed the scene at all hours. Witnesses from the bus terminal, including employees and security members, were unable to confirm that Carla ever arrived at the terminal, which made the taxi driver a main suspect in her disappearance. That was quickly disregarded when a witness came forward to inform investigators that he saw Carla that morning at the entrance of Machu Picchu. The logical assumption here is that Carla tried to go on an adventure alone and eventually lost her way. However, staff members and safety practices are in place to help find lost members. Additionally, it seems that if she went on a tour, she would have been spotted by other tourists because the location was crowded with people on that day. In 2019, for unknown reasons, investigators declared that it was unlikely Carla even visited the location on that day, and that instead, the park employee may have been lying. But why? Carla's case is still considered open and ongoing. Number 1. Karl Erwin Haab was a 58-year-old billionaire from Germany that suddenly disappeared in April of 2018. After his vanishing, many loved ones and professional peers had kind things to say about Karl. A few important things they seemed to mention included that he was a talented skier with great experience in safety practices. This is definitely an important detail when you consider the circumstances under which he went missing. One snowy morning, Karl went out on a skiing trip by himself to the Klein Matterhorn of the Swiss Alps. He was out on his own practicing for a special race he had signed up for. Karl had gone skiing alone on countless occasions in his later adult life, and the fact that he chose to fly solo on this specific day came as a surprise to no one and didn't evoke any worried thoughts from his loved ones. Additionally, the race that Karl had signed up for was one that he had participated in almost every year, meaning that the practice would come easily to him and likely not provide any opportunities for injury or failure. It should also be mentioned that he was no stranger to the route he planned to take, removing the possibility of him getting lost. Despite all of these factors working in his favor, he was never seen again after heading out for that fateful practice run. A search party started out but only lasted a few weeks. The common assumption was that by some freak accident he was injured. However, the aforementioned route that he took was considered a popular spot, and so were the miles surrounding it, meaning that if witnesses traveled through the area, which many did, someone would have come across him or his belongings at the very least. The public eye wasn't enough, and there remains no explanation for Karl's sudden disappearance. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.